So in this video we're going to create an assembly. As you can see on the screen, this is the final version of it, which is based on combining three different modified parametric designs. You'll see those designs on the left here in the data panel. We have a drawer, a main body, and a top section here. So the first step in this process is that we're going to need to create a folder. The folder will be used to organize our files, and essentially what's going to happen here is I'm going to create three instances or three copies of one parametrically designed document, and in this video you're going to see how they can be conveniently modified to suit your needs, or what we see here on the screen. So to do that, it's very simple. What we're going to do is I'm in the samples folder here, and I have a parametric tray, and I'm going to what we're going to do is just sort of inspect the assembly, and you can see I am just turning on and off or hiding and revealing different parts of this assembly. So we have a drawer, and the drawer is nested. It sits nicely inside of another design, and here it is. This is the what I've referred to as the main component, and that is a housing for a drawer, and sitting on top of that is some dividers. So we want to go ahead and create a new document, and this design document is where we will combine the three instances of the parametric document. So we have a document, and inside that document we'll eventually have three instances of the parametric design file here. Copy this sample parametric tray just by right-clicking it in the data panel here, and I'm going to copy it to the folder that I've created for this tutorial, which is a parametric demo. Now we'll go ahead and open up that folder, and you'll see the document, and you'll also see the copy, right? And we want to make two more copies in this particular case. So depending on your design, you might need less or more copies. As we saw though at the start, I've determined that three modified copies will be suitable for this particular design. And so we create three of those, and then the very first step is you want to rename each of them. So logically naming them is a good idea so that you can avoid confusion, and I'm going to rename one version the main. One version will be used to create those dividers, the drawer, sorry, and another version will be used to create the top assembly, which is the dividers for various objects. And we'll go ahead and insert the main copy into the design document. And you saw I right-clicked and chose insert, and a copy of that file is inserted into my document. And often you may need to change the orientation, so I'm turning the origin on here to help me understand or keep the design. It's good practice to keep the design against the origin here, and you'll see 90 degrees is an accurate rotation, so good to put in the numbers there. I'll turn the origin off now. I'm just showing you here where this is the main that I want to create, and I want to check the measurements of the demonstration document. And so I'm using the measure tool here to just confirm the measurements that I'm going to need to use when I modify the parametric files. As you can see, with the measuring tool we can get precise measurements, Now, often you will be using measurements from a physical prototype. In this particular case, to speed up the process, I'm showing you how to take measurements from an existing CAD design. Now we'll go ahead and use the measurements. In this particular case, we're going to use from the modify menu, we're going to modify the parameters. Okay, so we're going to recreate that main component using the measurements that we just took. Now I wrote down these measurements so I wouldn't forget them. I wrote them on a sticky note. Again, just to re-emphasize, you would have a sketch that you're following to create this, or ideally you would have a physical model from cardboard or another material. So we have the overall dimensions that we need for the main component, and again you want to save each time you make your change to the parametric file. You want to make sure you save those changes. If we jump back now over to the main document, you'll see there's a little symbol up here, and that symbol represents that there has been a change to the instance of the file you are using, and it doesn't appear to have updated. But if you click this icon at the top of the document, you'll notice it will synchronize, and then the change that we just made will be visible. So now we're going to remove one of the bodies of the parametric design to make it match our intended design. And so one of these walls I'm going to remove, and so we'll go ahead and make sure we select, and we can see from the browser when we select it on the model which is the one we want to manipulate. So I want to modify, in this case, wall B. I'll hide that wall now, and then what remains is, you can see we have these fingers as part of the finger joints, and we want to modify those. How to achieve that? Well, we're going to use the push-pull tool. The push-pull tool is useful to make pushes and pulls to existing bodies. So here I'm going to go ahead and select the faces that are recessed or pressed in, and I'm going to extend them out or pull them out. We know that this model has a 6mm thickness, therefore the finger joints are going to be 6mm. So I've put the exact number in here for the distance, and now we have modified this parametric file. And of course we now want to see the results of that, so we save the change. And it's a good idea to create a milestone here because we have made a significant change. That is a milestone. We'll go back to the main document, which is the collection of all these files. Here's the demonstration version, and the demonstration version shows we have another version of the parametric design, which we're going to call the draw, and it is nested inside this main component. So of course we want to make sure that the fit is precise of the draw. The draw needs to be a bit of course smaller in dimensions so that it can nest inside of this main component. So again, we're going to take some measurements. Again, you would look at your physical prototype for guidance on the measurements that you will need. In this case, I am taking measurements from an existing CAD design, and I'm zooming in here just to make sure I have precise snapping of the measure tool to get that internal dimension. So I'm writing the internal dimension down on a sticky note here off screen, and we have a dimension now, of course, for that part of the model. We'll take another internal measurement here for these the ends of this model. Just adjust the measure dialog so you can see what's happening there. So I'm going to write down this measurement as well, an internal measurement, because we are building a component that will sit inside of this one, so we need the internal measurements. Now let's check the height. I'll go ahead and use my measuring tool to check that. Now you can see the height is 44, and it wouldn't make sense to build the internal drawer exactly 44. It's too tight of a tolerance. There's not enough kind of wiggle room, if you like, and so I'm going to ensure that I design the drawer to be 4 millimeters less than that, so there's a little bit of wiggle room for the drawer to slide in and out. So I'm opening up now the instance of the drawers parametric design, and we're going to go ahead and make those changes to the dimensions. So referencing my sticky note, I put in the numbers, and we're keeping the thickness, of course, all the same. We're going to be using 6mm ply for this particular project. There's my 40, and we'll save these changes, and then we want to insert this file into our main design document. So we leave the drawers document, and now we're going to insert into the main document here, the main design. We're going to insert those drawers that we've just modified. So we right click over here and choose insert into current design. And what remains now is to change the orientation. So using the manipulators for the move tool, I'll change my views to get a precise understanding of the positioning. And so we need to notice I'm using the arrows, I'm not using the square to move. The square is freely moving, and the arrows ensure that the move is constrained to a particular plane. So I use 6mm there, or added in 1 to ensure the good fit here. And then I want to change my view to the top, I note that it needs to move forward slightly, and here we can see it's 5, but we'll change it to 6, that position, and then we'll change our view and inspect the fit, and you can see that 4mm subtraction ensures we have good clearance from the top of the main component for the drawer, and there's a nice snug fit there. We'll go ahead and save those changes. Okay. What remains? Well, if we take a look at the main the example file, we need a handle on the front of this parametric design. So there are 2 ways to do that. We could create the handle right here in the main document, which is what I'm doing in this demonstration. If I was going to do this again though, I would make this change within the actual drawer parametric document and let it update into the main. But anyway, I'm creating a sketch on this surface, and I'm using a construction line here to help me find the midpoint of this vertically, this distance we see here on this face. And then I will use a slot sketch. So if you look here, I'm grabbing a slot, a center point slot, and the center point slot, as I'll turn off my construction line because I want this to be an actual sketch feature. And my you can see there's a snapping there. The triangle glyph shows you where the midpoint of that line is. So I'll pull out 1/2 of the slot, so 1/2 of its length. So I'm using, I think, 25 perhaps, and then we'll drag up to set the height. And then I think I'm using 15. Right, one thing to note here, you'll see that part of the sketch is black, defined with a measurement, and some part of it is blue. So you want to have your sketches fully defined. It means the blue part of the sketch is missing some form of measurement. So using the dimension tool, I'll just set a measurement here from the edge of this finger. I'll accept the value that I'm given, and you'll note now that the entire sketch is black, which means it's fully constrained. In other words, the sketch has measurements, critical measurements added to it. We can now finish that, and I'll just make sure the sketch is visible. Yours may not be, so I'm just reviewing that here from the browser. If you can't see your sketch, you turn it on there, and I'm going to extrude out this sketch by the same thickness for the entire project. We'll use a 6mm thickness. Okay, and then that will be a new body. You could use a join, but actually the intent of this project is to be manufactured by laser, and so we can actually cut the new body from a separate piece of wood, and we'll glue it onto the front of this drawer. Okay, because the 2D laser cutter is of course a 2D manufacturing machine, so we can layer up 3D by cutting the parts separately and gluing, screwing, or nailing it to whatever we need. So now we can see the last part of the design is to add these top dividers, and again this is another instance of the parametric file. So we go ahead and we have already labeled dividers, or named it I should say, and now we need to make some changes to this document. So what we're going to do is simply try to preserve the finger jointing, and we can expect, you know, that about halfway down or in the center here we have another division. So rather than draw a whole new divider, we can move copy an existing one. So here I'm snapping to the middle of this end, and then you're using the move tool. M is the shortcut, but we want to ensure we create a copy. You saw that what I did there, and now I'm moving a copy of this body for this particular design. I want to change my view and move it out to the approximate center. I would use a specific measurement, not ordinarily, but to keep the length of the video down. I'm approximating here where the center of the component is, and I'll accept those at that position, go back for a look. Okay, and if we hide that copy, you'll see that there are actually no holes or fingers for the for that end, and so we need to create them. And here you can see it has ends. It appears to be poking through the front there, but it in fact is not, and so using the browser we could see that, but we can combine it. So we're going to use this combine command, and we're going to choose from the menu there, going vertically top to bottom. We need to choose a target body. So the target will be the bodies that need the holes put in them, and the tool to create the holes will be that actual component, that body I should say. You'll see it's red, that indicates that's a tool. We're using a cut. Make sure keep tools is on, which means keep that tool, that divider, don't remove it after it's done. Now we can use the browser to inspect the result. So I'll hide in this body, and you'll see now we have holes to receive the fingers, making a strong joint there for the divider. So we're simply going to repeat this process now for the other bodies that this touches. So we need to do the front face there, the wall, and we need to do the base. So you can right click and drag up to quickly repeat a command that you last used, which I demonstrate here. Go ahead and choose your body you want to cut into and the tool. Make sure it's a cut and keep tools as checked. It remembers that from the last operation. And again, have a look using the browser. Yep, that's what we are after. And then we'll just do one more combine, dragging up vertically with a right click. We'll repeat this command for the base. So select the tool target body, the base, and we're using that tool body there to create the finger cut. Okay, so another double check, always good to check. Yep, we have the finger joints created for that divider. This will come together, glue together very nicely, all these surfaces. Make sure you save. This is certainly a milestone. We have a divider created, a significant change to this parametric design. And we see that this is the divider's parametric file, and so now when we switch back, we need to the main document, we're going to insert that divider that's been changed. Just take a look here, I've got two instances of it, right? They're both the same, and so I'm going to orientate the divider component. You see it there in the browser, it's nice and organized. I'm going to orientate it with the move tool. And I like to use the browser to make sure I'm selecting what I need to select. So I brought it up to 90 degrees, change our view. It's going to sit on top of all of these components, and we want to create one more copy of it forward of this one. So I'll capture this position for this one and click OK. And then we'll repeat the move command, but we'll create a copy of this one so that it can live on top. So go ahead and click move copy. I'll use the browser to ensure I'm selecting only the component that I need to select. I choose create copy, and then carefully position this instance or this copy. Again, we can switch views with the view cube just to check things. Looks good. Take a final look at the final assembly, and that is how to use parametric designs.